Hi guys, this is Mohit Mastani, and today we have with us a very, very special, talented, and a mind-blowing filmmaker, Mr. Timothy Coons. Hi Tim, how are you? Or should I
I'm
call
doing
you
very
Mr.
well.
Coons?
No, you can certainly call me Tim. That's perfectly fine. It's
Yeah,
very nice to be here with you. Thank you so much.
thank you. You're so much welcome on ScreenBinge.com. Uh, so guys, I will let Tim tell his own story, but before that, uh, let me just tell you something that will give you a great motivational and inspirational pump up. This guy is 30 years old and he's produced 16 films and he is colorblind. His last film,
Hmm.
The Hired Guns and Fable of the Hired Guns and The Woman Who Cried Witch, has uh, garnered uh, a lot of awards, including the Best Western Short Award and Best Original Screenplay, which is when we talk about screenplay, this is a very important award because here comes your uniqueness and your creativity. So they also won that award, and they won the award for the best ensemble, and
Hmm.
and they also won the best award for the costume. So this guy here is a multi awards winning filmmaker, and Tim, I'll leave it to you now, and I want you to start your story from the beginning.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I suppose yeah, when I was born, I was raised by my mother. My father wasn't really in the picture too much, so I was raised by a single mom, and my grandmother was around quite a bit. But I was born with a visual impairment, so my vision itself is not correctable. I can't drive because my vision is so poor, and I'm colorblind. So go figure that all the things that I would learn to love growing up would be visual things. I love photography. I love drawing and painting. I love making film, and I think it comes down to you know the desire to want to provide something different and contribute in a way where you're telling part of your own story. For me, it's always been very cathartic to kind of put bits of myself and in my own story throughout my films. But
Okay.
yeah, so I was raised by my mother, and in a little town called Shortsville in New York in the United States, and um, there wasn't a whole lot of options in the way of like possibility or in regards to the arts. It was mostly industrial stuff. You would grow up and you'd go off and be a teacher or a nurse or go into the factory work. So I kind of went against the grain and went against what everybody else was kind of telling me was realistic as I grew up. And I really had this affinity towards film since I was 5 years old. When I was a kid, I would always watch the behind the scenes, even on VHS. And
Right.
yeah, and then there was a big thing when I was a kid to go to a movie rental place and pick out my film for the weekend. That was like that feeling. I've always been chasing that feeling as an adult. In the regard of creating a film. I wanna obtain that same kind of feeling that I got when I was going to the video store to pick out my film. So I've always felt this connection to storytelling. I love writing.
Uh-huh.
I write, direct, and produce and act in all my films. Hopefully, I won't have to produce too much longer because that's definitely become kind of a burden at this point. But um, yeah, I love storytelling, and I love kind of implementing um, my own story and what's surrounding me and my life with my people in those stories. I've always been a big fan of people like Quentin Tarantino and Martin Scorsese, and I love that
Legends,
bombastic,
legends,
over-the-top style. Yeah,
definitely
absolutely.
legends.
So, yeah, I guess I basically had no opportunity unless I was to move away to New York City or Toronto or LA. So I wanted to just kind of make my own opportunity. And I just picked up a camera when I was, I guess probably 22. I had dropped out of college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with myself. And I picked up a camera and I just got some friends together and started making movies. And I guess the rest is history. We've gotten progressively better as we've gone. I've learned, as I've made mistakes, the biggest way to learn is to make mistakes and get
Of
rejection
course.
so you can hone in on your craft. And here we are 16 movies later, and I've got 3 films in the circuit right now for film festivals.
That's
Fable of the
amazing.
Hired,
That's amazing.
yeah, yeah. So Fable of the Hired Guns and The Woman Who Cried Witch is the latest one. We wrapped that up in February, March. So yeah.
Mhm. Right. Um, Tim, you know, industry critics and audience and entertainment uh, journalists and everybody has one thing to say about you is that your vision is very unique. Now, that's
Mm.
kind of a pun, but you know, but your
Yeah.
filmmaking. I'm sorry if I offended you with that.
No, no, no,
Uh,
no, not at all, not at all.
yeah, but they say that Tim's work is, totally out of the box. It is something very, very different. So, uh, where do you get the inspiration to do such, and how do you find such unique storylines?
Well, I would be lying if I didn't say that I wasn't inspired by, the people that I've always looked up to.
Right?
Like what I previously mentioned, Tarantino, for example, is probably my all-time favorite. I mean, I would just love to ever be able to be in cahoots with him at some point. But uh, I'm a huge fan. I'm not sure if you've heard of the production company or the house of A24.
Of course I have.
Um, yeah, absolutely. So I've been on an A24 kick for the last few years, and I
That's
love
awesome.
how they make these really original, um, unabashed. They don't care that they're against the grain. They make a new vision for film. And so I kind of get this combination of being inspired by artists like that just don't really, they march to the beat of their own drum because I feel like I've always kind of done that myself. I've had to. I've been rejected my whole life as an artist, in high school even. I wanted to join a painting class and the teacher told me I couldn't because I was colorblind. Fast forward 5 years later, I had my own art show where people were purchasing my oil paintings, and I couldn't
Wow.
believe it because I did it on my own. So the rejection, being told no your whole life, I think that really forced me to march to the beat of my own drum. And I've loved film since I was a kid, and I mean a kid, like 5, 6 years old, and I think I write scripts where there's enough in there that could hold the attention of a general audience, but I really want to make material that I want to see, that I
Of
think is
course.
original, that I personally would like to see as an audience member. So I think a lot of the time I do end up making films that have more of that niche to it. They're a little bit more out there. I don't know that I would ever make something that's so far general that it's like a Transformers movie. I couldn't see myself doing something like that.
Of course.
Not that there's anything wrong with that kind of
Uh,
material, but yeah, I'm very inspired by literary work. I love
uh-huh.
contained stories and I love character development. So that's really
Right.
where I start is character development. Yeah.
Fiction writers usually are very, very possessive about what they want to write. Uh,
Hmm.
I, being one myself, uh, you know, do not accept it if the editor wants a single, word removed or replaced. I'd rather
Yep.
say, don't publish it, give it back to me. I don't want it published because I write it for myself.
Right.
I don't want the audience, I don't want the fans, I don't want the popularity. I just want to bring out what my mind or my storytelling skills, what my fiction, what my subconscious says, and there's
Sure.
no compromise on that. And I've asked about this feeling uh, to to a lot of writers, creative writers, and they
Hmm.
agree with that, that you get very possessive with your ideas and with your words, because that's your originality.
Right.
So,
And not only that, but if you're talking about writing a full-fledged story, whether if it's a novella or a novel or of a feature-length script or screenplay, you fall in love with the characters and you fall in love with their journey. So it's really hard for you to kind of disassociate and compartmentalize your own goals versus what someone else is trying to tell you to do. I mean, I could direct somebody else's work and have very little say in changing things and be okay with that.
yeah,
But if I'm writing it and I'm spending the time being in that mental headspace of these characters, then I've gone through that journey. It's been an emotional experience for me, and I don't really want to compromise.
exactly. When
So,
you're writing, let's say you're writing about a rain scene, you can actually visualize how it's going to be, and then you pen it down. You pen down the sense that uh, you would encounter in the
yeah,
story. You just create the complete environment of what you're actually visually imagining, and
yeah,
then there's no compromise on that.
right. Exactly. I agree.
Yeah. So, Tim, you've been uh, very, acclaimed for your knowledge about filmmaking and the entire film industry. And there is this uh, idea, of course, it's the truth, of course, that you you know the entire landscape of producing films and everything. So what would you want to say to the uh, audience or other filmmakers, uh,
Hmm.
that what kind of change do we need right now as an audience and as filmmakers as well?
Oh, okay. Well, that's huge. I think because there's been such a shift with streaming, right? Like Netflix and Hulu and all these major streaming platforms that we've lost a little bit the spark and magic of going to the movie theater to experience a film.
Right,
And so I think that there's a need for instant gratification when it comes to entertainment now. Like people have very short attention spans, which then leads to not having a very large payoff in a film that maybe is like a slow burning film. You know, I think right now there needs to be a little bit more originality and a little bit more, uh, I think, a more diverse voice. I would love to see more female directors. I would love to see more perspective coming from people that maybe have had to overcome diversity a lot more so than somebody like myself.
uh-huh.
Um, I would love to see more of that, I guess, and less of the quick cash grab experience. I would like to see more artistic integrity in film rather than let's just make money real quick. You know what I mean? More story driven, more character driven, let the audience fall in love more with a story and with the characters. And I think the audience needs to be a little bit more patient and put in perspective what it takes to be original. Because I could have easily kicked off my career 5 years ago if I wanted to make film that was just going to get me money versus making something that's really original that you've never seen before.
Exactly.
Um, and there's something to be said about that, and I wish that people appreciated that a little bit more. So I think that combination is really something that we need to see a little bit more of when it comes to film.
Right. But with the increasing number of streaming platforms, I believe that independent films are and
Hmm.
will be getting more space, and but then again the problem arises that you gotta market it, and
Yep.
usually the independent filmmakers don't have that kind of budgets.
No, no. Yeah, I mean, that's funny because even something as simple as it's not simple, I'm not diminishing it, but it's something in layman terms, when you think of scoring, like score the soundtrack of a film. Well, to score an original score for a film could cost $20,000.
Right,
If you wanted to use a popular song from someone like Madonna or Billie Eilish or something in your film, there's no way it could happen. That could cost $20,000 just for 20 seconds of a song on your movie.
right.
So there's all these little things that people don't really know that go into filmmaking and the budget. So yeah. Yep.
uh Okay, so Tim, when you first picked up the camera and produced your first film, how was it? Can you like briefly explain me the situation? How was the, you know, experience?
Yeah, so I think I was 23 or 24 years old. Um, I just used my DSLR. I had like a Canon D70 or something like that, or 60D or whatever it was. And I grabbed a couple of my friends and I had maybe like a two-page script. And I said, hey, I've been wanting to make movies and I have gotten more into being a YouTube creator. And I just thought to myself, like, to hell with it. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Who's stopping me other than myself, right? I don't need to go to school to learn to be a filmmaker. You can learn everything on your own.
Of course.
And so I just grabbed a couple of my friends. They read the script over. We shot it all in one day. It was a mess. It was a complete mess. My first few projects were pretty messy.
Hmm.
But it was so exciting though. It was exciting to take all the footage at the end of the night and put it all together and say, look, I made, this 7 minute long film. I can do this. And I
There's this
progressively
sort
kept,
of feeling of achievement that
yeah,
look, I did something, even if it
right,
has a
exactly.
100,000 faults in it. It is something
Mhm.
that I've originally created.
Exactly. And that's what I would always say to anybody that's, an up and coming filmmaker or an artist that just feels like they need to break out somehow.
Right?
Uh, at least you can say you did it and you'll learn from that. That's all there is to it. You have to at least put forth the effort to make it happen and then you'll progressively get better. It's just natural as you go along. So yeah.
Exactly. And I believe patience is the key, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
Patience and perseverance
of
because
course.
it's not easy.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's not easy at all. Yeah.
yeah. As you might know
Yeah.
that I've been, interviewing other celebrities and filmmakers and writers and all that. So what I find common in all of these people is that they've had their lows. Right now they are millionaires, uh, but there were times when they were struggling, but had not given up on their dreams of, you know, joining art or performing arts. They were doing
Yeah.
2 or 3 jobs a day, and
Yep.
finally, when things got better for them, they they kept on trying. They took on small roles. They took on commercials and whatnot, and gradually, when the years passed by, and people obviously take time to recognize your face. It's not like uh, I mm, star in a movie and tomorrow everybody will be saying, hey, Moed, can I get an autograph? So to
Right.
reach that kind of space where the legends are, or at least the A-listers are, it takes time.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
this is one pattern that I've noticed throughout, and it seems like you totally agree with this.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I've juggled having two jobs and putting myself through school full time for the last like 4 years now.
Right.
So and then you also have to make time to write the script and get everything together and get the funding together, and you have to do the table reads and then you do the production, you know. So it's a long process and it's very tedious and it's a lot of work. So it's just about perseverance and your dedication to the
Uh-huh.
craft and wanting to be an artist. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So I usually, when I'm, you know, when a story is developing in my head, uh, it's usually like 3 a.m. in the morning when I'm, writing it, and my mind's going faster than I can, write it.
Yeah.
So does that happen with you? Do you need like 3 a.m. kind of time to write, to be
Well,
creative
yeah,
or something like that?
100% actually. The way I write scripts is very interesting, apparently.
Mhm.
um, I basically put myself in that headspace of the character. Once I've got an idea, I roll with it and I have to write it like right then and there. And I'll take maybe 3 or 4 days to write it, and then I'm done. I don't
Yeah,
take weeks or months to write a script. I
yeah.
write it and I sit down, I make myself sit down and I'll do it all at once in a few days and then I'll go back and do some rewrites. But yeah, as soon as the thought enters my head, it's usually like midnight or 1 in the morning and then I have
You
to get
and
out of bed and I'll go
you
write.
enter this imaginative spiral space in your head where all the ideas are coming in. So it's
Mhm.
it's 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 really beautiful. Uh,
It's such a unique experience too. I mean,
Very
knowing that
satisfying.
you have to do it right that second, you know,
Yeah,
and you have to stay with it. So it's very
exactly.
interesting.
And
Yeah.
just like you said, uh, if you take, a long time for that to complete the writing or whatever, uh, you lose that mental state because when that story and everything is coming up to your head, you are
Yep.
actually in that kind of state. You're thinking of those things, you're visualizing, and if you say that, okay, I've written 5 pages, 6 pages, and I'll continue the story from tomorrow. But tomorrow you will not be in the same psychological state.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Mr. Coons, for your time uh,
Yeah.
to Screen Bench. And I most definitely wanted to show the world that uh, you can do anything, anything. And you are a great example for people. And I mean, guys, you're watching this. This guy has made 16 movies. He's winning awards. He's colorblind and he's a filmmaker. So what's stopping you?
I
Think
appreciate that.
about
Thank
think
you so
about
much.
that. Think about that when the next time you have an excuse to not do what you want to do. There is someone like him, right?
Yeah.
His art teacher told him he would be no good. He sold paints. So the story is always going to be amazing. It's going to be miraculous. You just have to have faith in yourself, and
Hmm.
there's no stopping. I'm really inspired by you, Mr. Coons, and you're always welcome to talk about your upcoming projects with the Screen Bench, and you can always contact me. And uh, I definitely hope to see you again.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for having me. And I would love to come back and speak with you
Yeah.
on future projects. So thank you so much.
You're most welcome, and goodbye. Have a nice day, and all the best.
Yeah, thank you. And I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. And I will hopefully speak with you soon. I appreciate it. Thank you for your
Yeah,
time.
we'll stay in touch, bro.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye bye.
Bye bye.